Hello. Well, I'm sorry that I don't speak Italian, as my colleague mentioned. Really sorry about this, but we'll take it in English. And if you have questions, you just come and find us, and yeah, we'll talk you through it. Well, we're Elektron, and we're based in Sweden, Gothenburg. We make these standalone, really nice synthesizers. All of them have got sequencers, and each of these are focused in different music production sides. Like one of them will do drums, the other one will do analog synthesis, the other one will do sampling. So we're really believing in how people can use our products in the music production, live, as well as on the stage, as well as in the studio, which I will show you later on about the Overbridge technology. That I hope it works. It's in a beta state right now, and if you want to try it out yourself, you can download it from our website. But enough talking. I'll play with the machines so we can talk the universal language of music. So here is this is the analog rhythm here right now. That you probably can see it there. It's a 12-track analog drum machine with sample support. This means that I have analog synthesis, such as like this, that you only get this type of beefy sound from, this type of low. If this was a digital sample, I don't think it would have sounded that good, so there is this edge. Okay, so now you're thinking, oh, is it only analog? Well, it isn't. You also have sample playback capabilities, so I can load up a sample into the machine. For example, I could go to the sample section, and so I could have samples like this or this. Yeah, so basically the sky is the limit. You can put a lot of samples in there, and you can really mess your samples up. Let's take this one, for example. You can even also make it like a granular effect. And the fun part is this sample that you're hearing can be layered on top of or on bottom of the analog voice. So let's try that actually. So I have this sound, the sample. So I'll feed in the analog part as well. Yeah, something like this. Yeah, so, and that is one of the 12 tracks that I have. I have other tracks such as the kick track here, and I can load up a FM bass drum, which is an analog FM bass drum. So you can make sounds such as this. Yeah, so you can make those type of sounds if you wish to do so. But let's look at the beat creation of it. So you have a sequencer. So let's look into that now. So let's see, I go to this, the bass tone track, and I put a few trigs in here. You can see it there. Yeah, so it's pretty easy on the eye. You got a good visual feedback of what is happening there. Let's make the tempo a bit more faster. You can change per note, per step can be a whole different setting of parameters. We call this parameter locks. It's basically automation for all your sounds. For example, here I can add like a different tuning, or here like a lower. And maybe I could add some distortion to some of the hits like this. this, so I can add some hi-hats. So what you saw was like, basically you can create your beats on the fly. Of course, it may look a bit complicated to the untrained eye that, oh, he's pressing all these buttons and so on. Well, it's like any of those instruments out there. You need to, kind of spend time with it to learn it, what it does. But once you learn the interface, it's pretty easy to come up with beats, maybe even better than this, than what I was doing. And another cool thing is that each of the tracks has got an LFO, which I think is one of the pretty coolest features that you kind of get on this machine. For example, we've got like a long bass drum here, so I can assign it to any of the parameters. For example, tune. And the LFO speed goes up the audio range. So you can, make these type of sounds. You can also assign it to, like, for example, filter. We could try that. It was assigned to the pitch before, but this one is the filter now. Let's turn the resonance up. Yeah. So. For example, I can make up a beat from this. I could put 2 steps at the beginning of the bar. So there's one trig here, and on the second bar there's another trig. But on the second trig, I'm going to assign a different speed for the LFO, and you will hear the result now. So, and maybe I put another one here. So each note can be a totally different sound. It's up to you how you're going to design that. And of course you got the other tracks. For example, we can look at the rim shot track and turn it into something weird maybe. Let's try this mode. can actually make up a bass riff out of this. So let's see here. So I can add like different notes, but with different settings. So I can like hold these two tricks and say, okay, I want them to be different. Maybe this one a bit more. So now, of course, I have the other tracks, and maybe I can add some other things. Of course. Yeah, so you get the idea. It's you just mess around with it, and something will come up, I guess. You can load your own samples into it through the USB port, and also the USB port is used for Overbridge too, which I'll come to that later on. We're gonna have a look at that later on. Maybe we could look at the analog 4 now a bit. Let's see what time we're on. Okay. So analog 4 is a 4-voice polyphonic synthesizer, and it also has a sequencer, just like the other ones do. Let's have a look at it now, and this is kind of how it sounds like, for example. Or we could try out another pattern. Let's have a look at the other tracks, for example, this. Yeah, so let's have a look at how you make use of all these features. So you have 4 tracks, and each of the tracks has got 2 oscillators, 2 analog filters, and an analog overdrive, 2 LFOs, and 2 envelopes. There's a lot to cover. But let's start from the beginning. So this is like the initial patch sound. You have like waveforms such as sol, the triangle, and you also have a feedback modulator. This is pretty cool. So you can make this. These crazy sounds, but let's have a look at the normal things. Let's see, let's try to make up a bass patch of this. So, okay, I'll try to feed in the second oscillator, and yeah, you can hear it now. You can detune it to get a fatter sound, maybe. Yeah. So you have the sequencer. So when I press play, you can see the sequencer running. And I can play some notes. So let's say here I want to have this note, and let's build up a melody like this. Let's see here. You have digital effects that you can hear now. It's like a reverb and delay. You have a chorus as well. So that's only using one sound. So we could go to the next track and maybe use it as like a drum machine, so you can trigger different presets per step. It's one of the things that we as Elektron we're quite proud of, is our sequencer and the parameter locking. So let's say on this step I want to have a kick sound, so while holding it I was selected with a level knob here, so I can see on the screen which sound that I'm going to trigger for that step. Let's see here, so this one for example, and here we can have another sound. There's a lot of drum type of sounds here, and maybe something here, and just random other sounds as well. Let's see what happens. I don't know the results. And maybe on this track here I can set it shorter. So you get the idea. You have the sequencer and the 4 voices that you can manipulate with. You can store a lot of presets in the machine, about 4,000 of them. I mean, some of the presets go like this. So you have, like, let's raise it a bit. So you don't need to actually tune your sounds. You got access to a lot of sounds that come with the machine. So let's take up this bass line, for example. So it's like a bit of a TB3 type of stuff. So you can straight away program like a 303 type of line. Yeah. So if you're into this acidic type of repetitive stuff, the analog 4 does it pretty instantly. And combined with the analog overdrive, it gets pretty mean, I think. can add a note slide too. Let's try adding that. Yep. And with the parameter locking, I can assign different filter settings. And maybe you can bring in the kick on the other track as well. Yeah. And on the kick track, I can add some hi-hats as well. Yep. I can record melodies in real time. So let's try to record this and turn it into sound. Yeah, so that's the analog form. That's, okay. Yeah. Well, it seemed that you liked it. Well, again, all that stuff is just, I'm making it on the spot. I have no idea what is going to come out of the machine. So I see them as like it's a very creative, instantaneous boxes. That is the word for it. Of course, when I do live gigs, yeah, I will have the patterns programmed, so there is less room for error and less boring music. I know instantly that the patterns that I will activate, they will sound good. I don't need to program it there. But however, if I want to wish to create something from scratch, you can also do that. So these machines give you the best world. You can program your live sets before and also improvise it if you wanted to do so. Let's have a look at the Octatrack. The Octatrack is an 8-track performance sampler, and we released it about 5-6 years ago. And maybe it's not humble to say, but we still believe that this is one of the best samplers that you can currently buy today. It's an 8-track sampler, and you have a compact flash card to put your samples in there and stream it. And you can use the same methods that I've been showing you with the sequencer and putting trigs in, exactly the same method here. But the difference is it focuses a lot on sample manipulation and recording, looping, and playback. Yeah, so let's have a look at it. Okay. For example, I've sampled this. Let's go to an empty space first. Okay. I've sampled this stuff from a vinyl. Damn, it's loud. So, okay, let's turn it down a bit. But it may sound a bit strange at first, but let's try to tweak this and see what comes out of it. Let's turn the other machines off. I mean, I could pitch it down, or you could reverse it. And just to do all the stuff, you can granulize it. Yeah. So you can hear that there is a lot of possibilities, even just too much. This was only one of the pages that I was editing. You get 5 more pages with a lot of more parameters to edit and automate. Let's try to do those things now. So let's find a good starting point of this sample, because it's quite a long recording that I captured in the machine. Let's use the filters a bit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, something like this kind of makes sense to my ears now. Maybe I can tweak it a bit. And add some delay as well. I mean, so I have like a loop here, which is a beat. I have no idea what it's going to sound like, so I hope it's good. Let's put it into the mix by pressing a trigger at the beginning of the sequence. Yep. I have 8 tracks, so I'll go to another track and maybe add some hi-hats or something. Let's browse through the samples. Yeah, that's a good hi-hat sound. Let's put that in. Let's change the beat a bit. Let's try to make it more interesting, I guess. Some other tricks into the hi-hats track. Copy that. And you have a crossfader here where you can assign any of the parameters from any of the tracks. Let's say I want to change the pitches of all the tracks played, so I will hold the button and say, okay, I want to change the pitch, and they go to the other tracks and assign different type of automation to these. This is a really creative tool because you're not limited to how many parameters that you can assign. It's kind of your imagination is the limit. So I'll assign other things here too. Maybe this delay engine too. Let's see. So yeah, you can do stuff like that, or let's change it a bit more. So that's what the Octatrack kind of does, but you also have the MIDI tracks. You can send 8 MIDI tracks as well as the 8 audio tracks, and all of them can have individual step lengths, meaning that they can be longer or shorter than the other ones before. That's a pretty cool feature, I think. Let's have a look at what else we can do. Let's see here. this one. Yeah, that's the one. Well, there is so many patterns you can save in the machine, so I'm trying to find the right one. Yeah, that's a bit of a shame. Was it this one? Yes, it was that one. Okay, now I'd like to play how I would play the live sets, and maybe you can get an idea of how these machines sound together. Basically, the way that I've got it set up here is output of these machines are going into the Octatrack here. So Octatrack is being used as a mixer. So these two machines go in here, and the audio output is going into the mixer. So it's a very compact setup. You don't need to have a mixer to use 3 machines at once, or because you could just plug it in and you can mix the signal together. That's a pretty neat feature, I think. Let me check the settings here on the MIDI page. Let's see here, MIDI. Okay, it's a funny one. It doesn't work. Now it works. Then this works. Okay, let's see. Well, it doesn't. Okay. So now let's see when I press play, the other machines should go as well at the same time. Let's pick a random one like this, and let's turn that volume down, and yeah. So now I could maybe feed in the analog rhythm and then mix them up together. Yeah, so that should be now in sync, hopefully. That I haven't mentioned yet is I have this really cool little acid box that is actually hooked up to the analog 4, and the way that I am actually keeping this in sync is by sending CV clock into it. So you can keep things in sync or actually automate CV gear with the analog 4 CV sequencer. So and then also the audio output of it is going into the analog 4 for further processing of the sound, adding effects and stuff. well, all the audio that you're hearing is being fed through the Octatrack. I can assign different settings to the crossfader to change the sound, basically. So when I push the crossfader, you can hear it is changing. Yeah, so that's how they kind of speak to each other. Now I could show you a bit of Overbridge. Let's see if that is going to work as it is intended to. Computers are never great for the stage. I've shared the screen, yeah. But let's see what happens. So that is the screen that I have, but okay. So now here, let's move this. The analog 4 is being connected to the computer with a USB cable. So with this setup, I can send multi-track audio into a computer. So let's say this is track 1. Let's go to the correct thing. And here you go, that comes up there. So if I go to track 2, there it is, track 3, and track 4. So these machines are not just limited to live performance and all that stuff. It's actually, they are a very good companion for the studio because you have the Overbridge where you can send multi-track audio, sync, and as well as MIDI automation and other things as well, which we will reveal in the future. So you can see it there. Let's run Ableton now, and that you can see, you can get an idea of how it's kind of everything works together. Let's see. Ooh. And then let's load up the project. Oops, not that one. This one. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So here I've got it set up that this track here is sending MIDI. This one is receiving audio, and the red one is for track number 1. The blue is for track 2, which one? This is the MIDI, and this one is audio. You can't really see it there. And track 3 is the green one, and track 4 is the purple one. So with this setup, I'm actually sending MIDI information from the computer into analog 4, and the audio is going back through into the Ableton via the same USB cable. And it will also send sync. So I've also got like 2 loops here that you can see, this one and this one, and they will, well, hopefully they will play back in sync. This is all in a kind of beta stage. This is like a public beta release that you can actually go and download if you own one of our analog machines and use it. But let's have a look. So if I trigger this, I should get some audio out on this channel. So the audio is actually coming out from the computer. It's not coming out from the Octatrack. I'm only using the USB for all the stuff that you hear in, and the synchronization and everything else. So this is like the MIDI track that is being played into the analog 4. And I have another one here, which is the bass one. We could try that, trigger that too. Because you can see like each track is being fed into individual channels. Now I can actually add effects to them in the digital domain while the audio is coming out from the analog domain. So maybe we'll set some reverb on that, and maybe go to the bass track and activate this distortion box. And try the loop, the beat, and hopefully will be in sync, because that's the whole point of Overbridge, to keep everything in sync. Yeah, it's not that bad. It could have been better. It works. Maybe I can add some reverb to the bass line. I could go to, I have like a sequence running inside the analog 4, and that should be in sync with the beat too. Yeah, it's okay. But maybe if I restart it, hopefully it will be better now. Yeah, it's actually better now. So, yeah, it's activate the other clip here. And there's also the plugin that you can actually see what you're editing on the screen. So let's say I go to the bass track and then open the filters. You can edit all your parameters here on the screen, and this is really handy when you're creating your sounds and patches, because you're not kind of limited to the machine's little screen. You have the big screen that's like colorful and quite informative. You can assign all the aspects of, you know, the LFOs and the destinations. I mean, there's a lot of detail in this plugin that, yeah, it's pretty crazy actually. So, and this is free for all our users and the future users too. So with the Elektron analog series, you have the Overbridge technology where you can make your analog machines part of your digital audio workstation. This is a pretty neat feature that we hope that people will enjoy. We released the beta version beginning of this week actually, on Monday. It was on Monday, a week ago now. And the feedback has been quite good. Of course, there are bugs, but that's why we need you guys to actually use it and beta test it. And if you have any problems, any issues, you let us know and we fix it. We aim to release the full version around end of summer. So yeah, that's kind of the timeline for this. And what's another cool feature is we can actually have a look at the second section of this. Let's see here. Okay. So if I activate this. I cannot assign like a chorus effect to this track. It's basically, it gives you the activate this MIDI clip here too. You can see. think this one of my favorite parts of Overbridge is you're thinking, okay, Overbridge works only with Elektron devices. Yeah, it does, but it can also sync additional gear, such as this box is not Elektron, and it keeps everything in sync with the DAW. So because I'm sending MIDI out into this unit here, and then by doing it like that, you get perfect sync with the analog 4 and the Ableton or your DAW, and you can carry that sync over with the MIDI output into another box, such as whatever you're using. So basically any box that you have that can be synced to the DAW via Overbridge. So let's have a look at that actually. If I press play. And this is actually on another track here as well. So I can actually add different effects to this too. So it becomes a sound card in a way. Maybe compressor. Let's change the timing of it. And at the same time, I can add effects on the analog 4, which it gets sent into there too. Let's try activating this MIDI clip and see if it's in sync still. Oh, that's not good. Well, my computer became unresponsive, so thanks for that. Thank you, Apple. So I had to cut it there. Yes, you got the rainbow of doom. Even the mouse is not responding, so yeah. So that's why it's in the beta states. If you get these issues, you'll let us know. I could maybe... Did you want to say something? Okay, yeah. So maybe we could look at the machines a bit more, because the Overbridge kind of fails halfway, so I can turn this off. That's good, yeah. It's better not to have computers in your live setup. That's only for studio. That's the good way to do it. Let's have a look at, let's see here. One thing that I really like about the analog rhythm is the rim shot track, where you can actually turn it into a bass machine. Let's try to do that. Let's see here, rim shot classic, yep. Something like this. And you have a chromatic mode where you can play any sound that you created chromatically. Yeah, and so we could actually start sequencing this as I showed you before. Let's put one trig here, there, and maybe that one here. Ooh.
Prettamente nata per fare parti ritmiche, ma ha la possibilità con questa funzione chromatic di andare a essere utilizzato anche come parte di sintetizzatore, quindi armonie o melodie, quindi non solo parti ritmiche.
And as I said before, the audio of these two machines are going through the Octatrack, which is a really great way because now maybe I can filter it out. And while it's like that, you can maybe go to the kick track and add some other kicks as well. And of course, I will bring that back in. Each of these tracks can be run on different step lengths, so we can change the step length of the bass track and make it something more interesting maybe. Doesn't really work, let's see, try 14. Yep. So let's try to feed the analog 4 in, and let's see here.
Alla destra di Dataline Analog 4, più un giocattolino di amici che riproduce il suono della mitica 303.
Come sentite, la cosa che caratterizza maggiormente i prodotti Elektron è proprio il carattere del suono, è proprio la pasta e il carattere timbrico che hanno voluto dare i nostri amici del nord Europa a queste fantastiche macchine. Rhythm può incaricare dei campioni, ovviamente delle vostre librerie preferite, caricarli all'interno di Analog Rhythm e utilizzare la vostra cassa, il vostro rullo preferito. Nello slide che vedete che c'è uno slide nella macchina centrale su Octadrive che vi permette di passare da un parametro all'altro di effetti e anche per passare il suono da una macchina all'altra filtrandolo.